Hello, this is Elizabeth and Elton Brewington with Discover Brightside, the video podcast, and we are so delighted to take you to London. And I really love doing this because we get to see so many different countries and meet so many people. And so, Dr. Madison Miller is a visiting lecturer at the Regent University of London. So, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and share your story.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Yes, my name is Dr. Madison Miller. I recently became a doctor in January, so it's
Congratulations.
been a pretty, thank you so much. It's been a nice journey. So I was originally born and raised in the United States, and I moved to the UK about 8 years ago. I pursued my master's degree and my PhD in the UK, so it's a slightly different education system than in the US.
Yeah.
But I've really enjoyed living here. Work-life balance is going really well. So I've decided to stay here. And now I work here professionally as a visiting lecturer. And so what I like to do is bridge two things together. I like to bridge um, art and creativity with maybe logic and reasoning. And I like to use that within my classroom strategy. So even though my PhD is primarily focused on meditation music, and I studied how music impacts you or how sound could impact you, and I've really discovered a lot doing that, particularly with people's own personal experiences and cultural experiences. We all experience sound differently based off of that, or even the structure of our ear. So there's the art element, but then while I was also doing my PhD, I was working for a small medium enterprise, SME in the UK, and I was their marketing manager. And so it's interesting because I fell in love with business, but I also fell in love with art. And so I'm really happy to be working as a visiting lecturer because I can do the blend of both. So I primarily work with bachelor's and master's level students in business and management courses. And what's nice is I can kind of feed them some philosophy and some art within my practice.
Mm. Wow, that sounds incredible. Music and sound. Oh my goodness, that is really powerful. So what when you were studying your P for your PhD, did you have to listen to a lot of different music and sound? And that sounds fascinating to me. So how do you bridge the academic theory and then music? And I think you've touched upon that earlier with real world leadership in your teaching.
I would say when you're working in academia, you want to prepare the students for their future careers. Oftentimes, if they're younger, they probably have no idea what direction they want to go. But I like mixing theory with practice because I remember being a master's student, being a bachelor student, and not feeling prepared for real world scenarios. And of course, placements and internships can certainly fill that gap, but I'd much rather them get as much hands on practical experience as possible. So within my teaching practice, I really like to find free trials of things for them to get their hands on, um, to engage with maybe say certain technologies like working with AI and fusing AI within business practices. That's one thing I'm working on at the moment. But even creative wise, Adobe has updated their Adobe suite to incorporate AI as well. And so I teach them how to make, marketing content using that creative element. Of course, the ethics, there's a debate on ethics that I always have with them as well. But it's ultimately up to the students on how they want to become or be in business. And I like to try to remain neutral whenever I'm interacting with them. So that way they can really determine and decide what kind of business professional they want to be when entering into the workforce.
Wow, that is fascinating. Hey, hi Val. Welcome. Welcome to
Hello.
our live show. Awesome. So we're just going through a few questions with Dr. Madison, and then I'm going to bring you on, and I think my group is arriving. So let me just wrap up with you, Madison. I have just one more question, which is what is emotional intelligence? It's essential to your philosophy, and how do you help your students develop empathy, adaptability, and self awareness?
I think emotional intelligence is major. And unfortunately, some people don't have it cultivated within them, or some people just simply don't have that personality type. And so I model by example. That's the best way that I can do it. I like to run quid pro quo in my classroom, which is Latin for something for something. And so I'm giving them something and I'm expecting something in return. Unfortunately, that's what I believe in, give and take. And so if I'm giving you empathy, if I'm giving you respect, if I'm giving you a listening ear, I'm expecting that in return. At the same time, if a student misbehaves or if they think I'm misbehaving, they're allowed to critique me as well. So I believe in the power of give and take and leading by example. And that's how I think emotional intelligence is taught in the classroom.
Fabulous. So thank you for this lovely interview. And you're watching Discover Brightside, and we have discovered you, Dr. Madison. And I hope to have you back and go into more in depth with the work you're doing and help you keep that American connection with us as you go overseas. Because one of the things about living abroad and being an expat is you really miss your home and your people. So,
Before you go, though, I have a particular question. It bopped in my head three, four times. According to your own objective, and how are you finding the balance of cultural? Is it was it easy for you, or it was just a third hat for you? You just virtually swing indoors and listen and understand, and even the language. The British English is totally different from American English.
yeah, I know.
A pop off, you know. I'm just wondering. That's you got to be completely versatile in terms of handling the process that way. I'm just
Yeah.
curious about your challenge or strategy, or you just it
Yeah,
just rolls off.
how have you transitioned? 8 years.
Uh
So
huh.
you've lived a
Yeah.
long time in I
Especially having to learn
yeah.
from their
Mm.
professors that way.
Yeah,
Little
I
interesting.
lived in London and I found them very cheeky and very bold. How are you doing culturally and try and living there?
Must be what?
The first couple of years, it was very difficult for me culturally. I felt like, I was too blunt, too forward, too emotional. I had a really hard time making friends, but during my PhD, I actually established a society on campus to bring PhD students together, and that's how I made friends. So it was easier for me to transition because I kind of took control of the situation,
Right.
and I was able to plan meetings with everybody virtually and in person. So that way anybody could join depending on their
Uh,
energy levels, which was good.
uh,
But then as far as the language itself, my PhD is actually written in British English.
huh.
I know it's kind of strange. So I actually had to hire a proofreader to help me throughout the process of
Uh,
ensuring that I
uh,
was able to do that. So now the where I teach, I allow the students to write either in American English or UK-based English. It's fine either way. Just choose one to make
okay.
it continuous throughout. But yeah, so that's how I was able to navigate
Well,
that
good for
issue.
you.
Mhm.
That's a great story too. Should write a book.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
uh,
Well, I hope to see more of you on our show
same,
and
same here.
please stay because we are going to have a great time. So please stay as long as you can. I think this is going to be awesome.